Hey everyone, my name is Katy and thank you for joining me for another video. Today we will be doing a monthly update in my reading journal, so let's get started. Also, I am currently running a giveaway for a reading journal over on my Bookstagram, so be sure to stick around till the end of this video for more information on that. So as always, I am flipping forward to my main bookshelf tracker page to color in the ratings for the books that I've read this month. And actually this video is covering both May and June. I only read 5 books in those 2 months combined, so I am only doing one video for them. I have been in a bit of a reading slump. I've not been reading things that I really love until recently, and I've just been down. I don't like summer. I have like reverse seasonal affective disorder, I swear, because I always just don't enjoy summer. So with all that being said, yes, this is for May and June, and I started out May just not wanting to read at all, and I had 2 2-stars and a 3-star, but June redeemed myself a little bit and I had 2 5-stars, which was great. And then I'm flipping forward to my Zodiac spread to fill in the Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer books of each of those months. So my Taurus book was A Fate Inked in Blood, which was that Viking romantasy I had read a couple months ago and really enjoyed. The Gemini book is 6 Scorched Roses, which was a novella that I read in June. And then my Cancer book was Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is the sequel to The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which I also read in June. Then I'm flipping past a few of the spreads that I had already filled in or didn't have anything to fill in. And I'm reaching my main tracker for the year and filling in my monthly stats for both May and June. And then flipping again past a few trackers until I get to my Year of Adventure page. And I am filling in the prompts for May and June, as well as putting in the book covers associated with each of those reading prompts. So the prompt for May was a title with multiple R's, and I chose A Rivalry of Hearts by Tasanya Odette, and that was an arc. And then the prompt for June was flowers on the cover, and I chose The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So once I have all of those trackers filled out, I'm flipping forward to my monthly cover page for May, and I am filling in my stats for the month. So again, I read 3 books, and this month my favorite was All Systems Red, but that was still a 3-star for me, so like I said, not a perfect reading month by any means. And then I'm flipping forward to my book reviews. So again, A Rivalry of Hearts I read as an arc. I really love the author. This book, however, was definitely more focused on the rom-com vibes. It's about 2 rival writers who are fighting it out for this Fae book deal, and a bunch of commotion happens, they fall in love. You know how it goes. But unfortunately, I just was not vibing with it. I really enjoyed the beginning, but by the end, I just really wanted it to be over, which was really unfortunate. Then the second book that I read was A Dance with the Fae Prince. This is the second book in Elise Kova's Married to Magic series. I had read the first one a little while ago, and I wasn't in love with it by any means, but it was perfectly fine. And that's kind of how I felt about this one as well. And then the third book that I read was actually a novella of a series of novellas. So this is Martha Wells' Murderbot series. And I read the first book, which is All Systems Red. And this is about a cyborg who is tasked with protecting this group of humans. But this cyborg doesn't love murdering. They don't really care about what they've been told to do or how they've been programmed, and they would much rather watch TV and consume art and media all day. And then moving on, since I had only read 3 books, I had this whole page to cover up. So I took off the washi tape that was on here and used some whiteout to cover up the marker where needed. And then I'm using some washi tape to create a background, and I'm going to turn this into a quote page. This washi tape is by Marigona Suli Art, and I will have the links for as much of the stationery that I used today as possible down in my description box below. So once I've covered up what I wanted to with that purple washi tape, I'm cutting out a piece of bullet journal paper to cover up the middle of this page. And this is just bullet journal paper that I took out of one of my other bullet journals. And I'm using that washi tape that I had originally taken off this page to border the top and bottom of this blank sheet. And I added in the quote, "I have no desire to twist myself into knots to please people I don't even respect," which is from a book that I read earlier this year called A Fragile Enchantment by Allison Saft. And I just really like this quote. It's how I've been feeling recently, and I wanted to include it here. And then I am also adding in various stickers, again from Marigona Suli Art, to fill in the page. These are some of her bookish stickers that went with her recent launch that I just absolutely love. And I really liked how this quote page ended up. I haven't done any quote pages in my journal so far this year, so it was fun to have the opportunity to do that, and it was nice to do something just like relaxing and decorative. So then I am moving on to set up the June cover page, and I'm using this amazing mermaid sticker, again from Marigona Suli Art, and I love this mermaid. She's absolutely beautiful. I love that she's sitting on a moon and surrounded by clouds. It's totally my aesthetic. And then I'm pairing that with some additional bookish stickers, again in the same kind of color palette. And then I'm setting up the book tracker here on the right side page, going in with my little bookshelf, and then the room for my stats and my little title at the top. And since I already knew how many books I had read in June, I was able to actually draw in all of the books at once. Usually I set up this page at the beginning of the month, and then I draw in all the books at the end of the month, but I'm playing a little bit of catch up here, so I already knew that I had only read 2 books in June. So then here are those blue and pink bookish stickers. I really love her bookish stickers. I think they're so cute and cozy. And of course I'm finishing off the page with some of my sparkles and dots with my markers. And then I, again, already knew which books I read, so I am writing in those titles. And then I also filled in the stats. And my favorite book this month was The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So then I'm going in and starting to set up the book reviews page. You usually don't see this part in my videos, so this is a little bit different. But it's pretty simple. I just add a little bit of washi tape on the left-hand side, and then I go up 13 spaces and then 13 spaces to create my little book review sections. And I create one colored bar for each of the titles as well. And then I had ended up deciding that I wanted to use the top space actually for another quote because I had room to fill. So I ended up covering that up with a bit more washi tape. And because this month I read 2 books from the same series, I decided to choose a quote from the first book in this series. So the quote that I chose for this space was, "So many mistakes in the end, he choked out, never you." And this is from The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. And I decorated that quote area with, again, some of those bookish stickers that match the cover page. And again, it's always really fun when I get to do these just decorative quote spaces, so I'm thinking of including them more throughout the journal because they're very relaxing and fun for me. Then it is on to setting up my book reviews. So the first book that I read was Scorched Roses, which is actually a novella that falls between the first and second book of this series. And then the second book was The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is the second book in this series. And the series is called The Crowns of Nyaxia, and there will be 6 main books in this series, and it is comprised of 3 separate duologies. So I have finished the first duology, which is all that's out right now, including that novella that goes in between the 2 books. And then the next book comes out later this year, so I'm super excited for that. So I filled in the little book reviews off camera, and I ended up creating spreads for both of these books. So the first spread that I'm setting up here is for Scorched Roses, and this is just a 1-pager. Again, this is just a novella, although it felt really, really full and complete and complex, especially considering it is only like 200 pages. For this spread, I used some of my absolute favorite Notebook Therapy washi tape with the moon phases and florals on it. And I paired that with these vampire stickers from Marigona Suli art that I love. I especially love the girl with the wings, and the vampires in this series have wings, so it just fit perfectly. So this novella is actually about completely different characters than the main characters in the first or second book, but these characters do show up in the second book, so I'm happy that I read it in between the 2, and I have seen that it's recommended to do that, although if you read it before or after, I don't think it would really hinder your experience in any way. This is a little bit of a Beauty and the Beast kind of vibe story. I hesitate to say that because it's really not, but the vibes are there. So the quote that I chose for this spread is, "Time is the most valuable resource of all, and some of us are perpetually short." And this is because this is a romance between a vampire and a human, which is like my favorite. But basically we have this town, this community that has been ravaged by an unknown illness that is killing people left and right. And our main character, Lilith, is searching for the cure. And she is a researcher, she's a STEM girly, she's a scientist, and her idea is to use vampire blood to help create a cure for this. So she goes to this grumpy vampire named Vale, and they make a deal to exchange a vial of blood from him for one of her 6 roses. And she has these magical roses, which is a whole other plot point. But basically, the story is structured for each of their 6 visits. And progressively, their relationship through each of the visits changes and grows. And it is just really, really good. Like the chemistry, the storytelling, the characterization, considering especially that it's only like 200 pages or whatever, it's really good. And I definitely recommend it if you love vampire romance. So that was definitely a 5-star for me. And then I went into probably one of my more anticipated books recently, which was Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, the sequel to The Serpent and the Wings of Night. And I absolutely loved The Serpent and the Wings of Night. It really kind of had me in a chokehold and kind of still does. The characters and the emotions and honestly like the vibes, I just really needed and enjoyed reading. But a big thing happens, and I don't want to get into spoilers, so I'll just allude to a few things lightly. But a big thing happens at the end of the first book, and it changes a lot of dynamics, a lot of things that are going on in the story with the characters. And I was nervous, honestly, to continue the story because of these changes that I knew would be coming. And basically, what has happened has set some of our characters against each other. There's been like betrayals, there's been hard feelings, and the relationships are very complex now. And they need to navigate how they feel about each other with what they've done to each other and figure out where they go from here and how they continue on into the future together, knowing their complex past history. And a lot of the book is focused on that, is focused on relationships, complex, complicated relationships. And I think that's what I really love about Carissa Broadbent is how she goes into those kinds of topics. And I just have really grown to love her as an author. Her other series, The War of Lost Hearts, I absolutely adore. Although I should say I haven't read the 3rd book yet. I probably should do that. But the first book in that series, the characterization, the complex, complicated feelings that she brings you through with these characters, I just really love. Everything has this kind of dark vibe about it. The magic has got this grittiness to it. The scenery, it all just feels like gloomy, which is why I chose these ruins for the stickers in this spread. But yeah, I just really enjoyed this. So let's talk about the spread before I get too carried on. So I'm using a combination of kind of random washi tapes that I've accumulated over the years. I don't think they're from anywhere specific, but if they are, I'll leave it down below. And then I've added some different stickers from Mushy Works. So I have the 2 different maidens, the different ruins on the bottom, and then a few of the kind of vampiric-esque stickers to add in the decoration. And you'll notice that I had forgotten to add the book cover to this spread, but I do end up noticing that when I am writing in my review of the book, and I replace one of those 2 stamps with the book cover, and those stamps are from Notebook Therapy. So I actually added 2 different quotes to this page. There were a lot of quotes, so it was hard to choose. So the first quote that I included was, "Humans mourn time because it's the only currency that really matters in a life so short." And if you were paying attention, it's pretty much the same vibe as the quote that I chose for 6 Scorched Roses. And it deals with humans and time and running short on time. And that really is a big theme throughout the whole series, especially considering you've got humans and you've got vampires and you've got complicated relationships between the 2. and everyone's trying to navigate their lives. So that is a theme that is persistent and one that I find very, very interesting, especially as someone who is interested in the macabre and death and all of that kind of stuff. It's a theme that I really enjoy reading about, especially juxtaposed to like a romance. And then the second quote that I used was, "I'd spend a lifetime at the tip of your blade and it would have been worth it." Of course, this is kind of more of a traditional fantasy romance kind of line, I guess. But we do get to experience multiple complicated relationships, familial, friendly, romantic, where there's been betrayals and lies and hiding the truth from each other. And ultimately, these people all still care about each other in different ways. So, I don't know, I just felt like this really described that well. So I was happy to include this quote on this spread. And you notice there, I realized that I had forgotten the book cover again in this spread. So I was able to fit it in over there on the left side, and I think it looks fine over there. So, like I said, this is the end of this initial duology of Aurea and Rain's storyline. And then the next duology will follow a side character named Misha, who is Rain's best friend, basically. And we've gotten to know her a little bit, but there's like a lot going on behind the scenes with her, so I'm really excited to read that next book. And I'm just excited for it to come out because this series is now being traditionally published, and I don't know, I'm totally all in on the Carissa Broadbent train. Okay, so then moving forward, we are setting up my July cover page. Now for this color scheme, I'm using this amazing sticker sheet from Marigona Suli art called Summer Witch, and I was very inspired by the pinks and the purples mixed with a little bit of yellow. So I'm using a combination of washi tapes from Bloomsicle, Simply Gilded, and Marigona Suli art to create the color story that I'm looking for. And this Bloomsicle washi tape with the books is so amazing. I love it, but I haven't had the chance to use it yet. And again, I'm setting up the cover spread with my title, July Books, as well as the little bookshelf tracker and room for my stats. And I used most of the stickers for decorations because I just really, really loved them. Again, those popsicles, the Polaroid, the little butterfly in the cloche, the crystal ball that is a sunflower. I just think they're really, really cute. And I've been hoarding this sticker sheet for so long, I was really excited to use it finally. They do look really summery. Even though I don't love summer, I can still love the aesthetics of summer, you know? I love fruit motifs, the flowers, the popsicles and iced tea. I just think they're very, very cute. And of course, I finished off the decorations with some of my sparkles and dots using my markers. And that was the end for July. Now, before I show you my final flip through of these journal pages, I wanted to let you all know that I am currently running a giveaway over on my Bookstagram, Katy, which I'll have here on the screen and down in the description box below, where you can win one of these reading journals by Clever Fox. Clever Fox graciously sent me this reading journal, which I think would be a really, really good option for those of you who would like a little bit more structure than what I do in my journal, which is just a notebook. This has areas to fill in your trackers, to write in your list of books that you have read, and also has dedicated review pages you could still utilize stickers and washi tape, quotes, and decorations in, but in a more structured way where you don't have to set up everything from scratch. I know I've had people in my real life tell me, how do you stay on top of this reading journal? And obviously it is August and I'm putting out my May and June video, so I don't always stay on top of it very well. and I think that this would be a great option for those of you looking for something a bit easier with a bit of structure and that you could still be creative with. Be sure to check out that giveaway over on Instagram, and let's get into this flip through. So I am very happy with how this all turned out. I was a bit nervous to get back into my journal after waiting so long to track anything and for being in a bit of a reading slump. It just makes me nervous to even think about books when I'm in a reading slump, so trying to get out of that, I'm excited for fall. If you are a fall or winter girl, you know. If you like this one, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, and if you'd like to see more from me, be sure to subscribe. I hope that you and yours are staying safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you again next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye!